All right, so we are live. If you wanna kick it off, go for it.
Okay. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Sunshine Law, annual notice having been published on or about July 1st, 2023, in 2 local newspapers, a copy on file with the board secretary, and a copy posted on the TCCS website. This meeting is being called to order at 7:13.
Okay.
We're going to start in by swearing in our board members.
So those 3, let's get a copy of this.
Come on, Stacy. Mr. Harry. Excuse me.
So we'll do one at a time. I
All
think,
right, so
right?
we'll start with we'll just go in order. With Ziamara, there you go.
I, Xiomara Valdez Hadnot, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, Xiomara Valdez Hadnot, do solemnly swear or affirm that I possess the qualification prescribed by law for the office of a member of the Board of Education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Perfect. Okay. Congratulations. So yeah, we'll do signatures at the end. That's fine.
Next. I, Yvette Gonzalez, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, Yvette Gonzalez, do solemnly swear or affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law for the office of member of a Board of Education, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of that office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
I, Stacey Harris, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same and to the governments established in the United States and this state under the authority of the people, so help me God. I, Stacey Harris, do solemnly swear or affirm that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law as a member of the Board of Education, that will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties of the office according to the best of my ability, so help me God.
We have a code of ethics review that I'll pass to each board member.
Yep. Actually, so everyone gets a copy of that they have to sign after reviewing them, and they also get a copy of the actual code of ethics. So what we typically do to kick off the year for the new board and returning board and everybody else is annually the board has to affirm that they agree to abide by the code of ethics for school board members. In order to make sure that everybody's on the same page with what those are, you get issued a new copy of them, and you have to sign the affirmation that you received it. And also at a public meeting, it's required to actually go over them and read them, just so the public also understands what the role of the board is. So what we typically will do is each board member will just take one, and we'll go around and we'll loop back. And then at the end, you'll sign the affirmation, and we'll keep those on file. Okay? Yeah, so we want to start with Stacy, and we'll work our way around.
I will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and board order pertaining to schools. Desired changes shall be brought about only through legal and ethical procedures.
I will make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of children and will seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing.
I will confine my board action to policy making, planning, and appraisal, and I will help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who will be affected by them.
I will carry out my responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with my fellow board members to see that they are well run.
I will recognize that authority rests with the Board of Education and will make no personal promises nor take any private action that may compromise the board.
I I will refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interests or partisan political groups or to the use of the school for personal gain or for the gain of friends.
I will hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools which, if disclosed, would needlessly injure individuals or the schools. In all other matters, I will provide accurate information and, in concert with my fellow board members, interpret to the staff the aspirations of the community for its school.
I will vote to appoint the best qualified personnel available after consideration of the recommendation of the Chief Administrative Officer.
I will support and protect school personnel and proper performance of their duties.
I will refer all complaints to the Chief Administrative Officer and will act on the complaint at public meetings only after failure of an administrative solution.
That was the last one. You're spared. Dean.
I just told her, shut up.
Okay. So yeah, you guys all have a copy of that and the affirmation. So you could just sign those, at some point tonight, and we'll make sure that Tom gets those and we'll put them on file. And you can keep a copy of the ethics standards for yourself. Okay. So the next thing on the agenda is reorganization. Are we missing members still? It's up to you.
Keisha.
I mean, if you want, we could either ask, or if you want to go back to that after because we have a couple presentations and things like that. And then we can go back to the other business of approving the minutes. Well, that would happen after the reorganization, but we can proceed with the academic stuff if you want. All right. Cool. All right. So welcome everybody to our first meeting of the 23-24 school year. We're going to kick things off with a presentation of the math end of year data by our math chair, Mr. Adam Fleischauer. You sent me the presentation, right? Okay. Oh, there it is. All right. So you want to give, so if you wanted to start with a little just background info of what this data is and whatnot for new board members and anybody who may not have seen this before.
The information on the slides is based on the benchmark results for grade level. So a benchmark assessment is just a cumulative assessment every 4 topics. In the lower grades, they're called topics. In the upper grade, they're called chapters. So K to 4 do anywhere from 3 to 5 benchmarks, and 5 to 8 usually do anywhere from 3 to 4. And we have a beginning of the year assessment, a middle, 3/4 of the way, and end of the year assessment.
So yeah, we typically do these assessments with ELA and math, which are reported on a 3-time-a-year basis to the board. They also present to the curriculum committee as the year goes on. So this is the end of year.
So it's color coded. So if score 70% or below would be in red, 71 to 85% in blue, 86% or higher would be in green. And BOY stands for beginning of the year, and EY end of the year assessment.
Everybody see that? You tell me when you want me to click through.
Click.
I mean, you can go through it, and then if anybody has any questions. That's first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade. And as we get to the 7th and 8th grade classes, just the percentages differ a little bit just because of the class sizes. So in 7th grade math last year, and every year this changes. 7th grade math were 20 students, 8th grade math had 14 students. 7th and 8th grade algebra together were 20 students, and geometry, which was 8th graders, had 14 students. 7th grade. 8th grade. Algebra. And geometry. some things that Ms. Torres and I discussed just for an action plan to start the year is one, start interventions plans earlier, is that we have this data, we'll have the NJSLA data in the beginning of the year, we'll have the beginning of the year assessment in the first week. We have students that we had last year, like me, I taught third grade, I'll be teaching fourth grade next year, so I already have an idea of maybe some students who I know will need some interventions in the beginning of the year. Reteaching any gaps based on the end of year assessment, the NJSLA results. Continue to focus on small group instruction within the classroom. That's something we wanted to focus on a lot last year and continue next year. Another thing we talked about is just identifying high-level learners and provide enrichment opportunities. As we discussed in the curriculum committee, sometimes we might put a little too much emphasis on students who are struggling and kind of forget about the students who could use those enrichment opportunities. Also, another big change is that we've seen the last few years as they go through the grades, the numbers don't do so well, 6th grade and above. So we're going to try a new curriculum next year. Big ideas in 7th and 8th grade classes, not for algebra or geometry, but just for the grade 7th grade math, 8th grade mathematics. We met with a sales rep for that company and another company, and we liked this one, so we went forward with it. We looked, Mr. Lloyd, the 7th, 8th grade math teacher, looked at the sample of textbooks. We liked how we looked. We had an hour and a half kind of sales pitch, kind of showed us how the program worked. We liked it. So we're going to pilot that next year for 2 groups, 7th and 8th grade. And if it improves and it looks like it's good, we'll talk about maybe moving it down to possibly 6th grade and then so on and so forth. Another thing is just provide any PD opportunities as they come up.
I have a question
Yes.
before I forget. How long does it take for the teacher to get comfortable with teaching it? Because each time you change a curriculum, it's harder for the teacher to have to teach. So if the scores are already low, what makes you think that big ideas with a teacher learning something new to translate it to the student and closing the student gap and student achievement to get it higher?
Well, yeah, one, it takes more than 1 year for a teacher to get comfortable with the curriculum.
I know.
Also, just we liked how kind of straightforward this curriculum was compared to Envisions for that grade level. It gets a little more abstract as you get older grades, and this one seemed a little bit better for some of these struggling classes that we see in 7th and 8th grade coming up next year.
Can you and Sonny talk a little about the training plan? What's included or involved?
Yeah, we have a 2.5 hour PD and qualifications training that the 7th and 8th grade teachers will go through, and then after that, it's really going to be, like I said, like as needed. If they ask for more PD, we're going to provide more PD either from the company or from other schools that use this program. But it really, as it comes, as of right now, it's going to be the language training.
What do you think is the biggest difference between what you taught last year's curriculum and the one that we're going with this year? What was the deciding factor to say, oh, this could be better?
Oh, well, Mr. Lloyd said he liked this one because there's a lot more kind of relatable examples, more straightforward, the way that they go through the algorithms. He just thought it was more understandable. He taught this year.
And is it all online or will they get?
It's both.
They're both.
Just like they'll have an online component, they'll have textbooks, they'll have workbooks. So all the same parts of the whole program is in this new program.
That program help you identify the learners who need enrichment and the higher.
Yeah, we'll get through that through benchmark assessments, just like they have in the other program.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So like 7th and 8th grade, if you look at the data, half of the students seem to not have tested as well, right? Right from the beginning to the end. To catch them up if they didn't do like some kind of a program because they're already behind on that curriculum. And then especially like 8th graders, they're going to be testing for different schools and stuff, right? So like, how are we going to help them?
We also have a math program called Focus Mathematics, which is a more intense intervention system that we'll use during Boost. So once we identify just some groups, and because one thing that happens every time we try to make Boost groups is if I want a student for Boost group, the LA teacher usually wants that same student for preschool. So it's kind of like sharing back and forth. That's usually what happens. So I would assume it would be 2 or 3 days a week interventions in small groups, right? Groups,
And
using
then
the focus math.
I don't know the math curriculum, so I'm just curious, like, I know I can't teach my kid math at home with all this new math stuff, right?
Me neither.
So what's different in terms of like if they're learning geometry this way, right? And then this program teaches it another way. Are we accounting for like how it's being taught different? You know what I mean? Like, because I just like, you guys teach multiplication, right? You can group 5 through 6 times 7. But like, there might be a different strategy that this curriculum is going to teach. The kids have already learned a different strategy on how to do it. Do you know what I mean?
I would agree.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly because I don't teach 7th and 8th grade, but after talking to Mr. Lloyd, he said it seemed like it was a more relatable textbook, a more straightforward than Envision system.
Can I just say too, through the curriculum committee that we just met, we did talk a lot about like that transition of information from one grade level to the next and looking at the comprehensiveness of programming. And then also the tiered INRS system. So I think some of those students that you're speaking to would be identified through that tier system before they get referred to the INRS. So it sounds like there's a lot of like cushion to support the students, and it's just about like having this roll out and see if it's effective for the students as well. But there was a lot of conversation in our last curriculum meeting about how information and needs are transferred from one teacher to the next, and how to develop from a K through 8 ELA and math like a comprehensive curriculum going forward. So that's a goal I think for us for next year, just to keep looking at that as well.
My last question, to piggyback off what she said. 7th and 8th is going to have a new curriculum. 5th and 6th, how does the 5th and 6th curriculum transition them to this new curriculum?
Well, every curriculum is based on state standards. So no matter what curriculum, every curriculum is teaching 6th grade state standards. Next year, 7th grade state standards, just how it's taught and the approaches. So
So if the 7th and 8th one failed, the 5th and 6th, which is the same as the 7th and 8th, failed. So they did well here, but just like last year, they did better last year than the
I don't want to say it failed. I don't want to say that.
unsuccessful.
I like that word. That's why we're trying it out next year.
I'm only asking that because I missed the curriculum. I was never sent a link, but I mentioned
That's
Ms. That's why I would have asked this other, but I just wanted.
Christina sent the link. Thank you, Christina.
No.
I gotta go back to my car.
I
I
hope
think she
so.
accepted the invite. It was a Google Calendar
No, it's
invite.
EMR.
No.
What's next to that?
Oh, moving along. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Moving along.
Are there any more questions?
No, thank you, guys.
That was great.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for your questions.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Oh, wait, one more.
If you're about to
Did
get lost for a
Mr. Wolf
minute.
fully recover his ankle?
He's still looking around here.
He
He's
is.
got what he gets for playing with the students.
Everyone who's going to be here is here, right? So
Yes.
we'll go back to the
That's great.
I was on the email that said we were having it. I was not on the invite. She sent me the invite.
Oh, is that his son?
Okay, so at this time, we're gonna double back to the reorganization of the new board for the coming school year. And the way that this typically goes is that we will go position by position where someone nominates someone for that role, somebody seconds it, and then we take a vote. That the person has the opportunity to accept the nomination or to decline the nomination, and then we move on from there. So.
All right, for president, I nominate Ziamara Hadnot. May I get a second?
I second.
Okay, I third. Wait, don't I have to
Wait,
accept
so,
it?
well, hold on, first do it first and
You
second, yeah.
accept?
So you nominated, who seconded?
Second, Yvette, whoever.
Oh, that was,
I think-
that's fine.
Give it to, I heard.
Okay, go ahead, go ahead.
So the row second.
Okay.
Yvette Gonzalez.
Okay. And then you could do a well, ask her if she accepts,
She accepts.
Okay, and then we'll do a a roll call. Go down the list. We'll start with
Stacy Bahari, it's a yes or no.
Oh, yes.
Miss Carter, Keisha Carter, Miss Gonzalez,
Yes.
Miss Hallway,
Yes.
Mizzou's not here, McGilchrist, yes, Mitchell's not here, Vallejo Justine,
Yes.
I guess technically,
President.
Tiamona does get a vote for herself too.
oh, and Miss Hadnot.
By
Sorry.
accepting. Yes, all right. Great. All right. So she is now the president. Again, play musical chairs.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gallo.
keeping this one for me.
Okay, so for vice president, I nominate Anthony McGilchrist. Can I
I
have a
second.
second? So, Noel seconds.
Me too.
Okay. Ms. Bahari?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Ms. Hallway?
Yes.
Ms. Vallejo Justine? Ms. Carter? I'm just going around.
I'm looking good at you.
Oh, do you accept?
Yes, I do.
And your vote?
Yes.
Okay. Congratulations.
Do I keep,
You just ask for nominations for the next role.
can I have a nomination for treasurer?
I nominate Enid.
I second.
Can I speak? Jesus, you're so
Yeah.
Yes.
Who seconded?
McGilchrist.
What's it?
What's happening right now?
We like,
It was
we
very good.
like work for the kids tonight. I don't know, it's not-
Okay. All right, ready?
Put me on the link next time.
Ms. Bahari?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Ms. Hadnot, yes. Ms. Hallway?
Yes.
Mr. McGilchrist?
Yes.
Ms. Vallejo Justine?
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Can I have a nomination for
Miss Gonzalez.
secretary?
Oh, nobody wants my job, huh?
Okay.
Anthony motions,
Yes.
Keisha seconds.
Keisha did
Okay.
second.
Yep.
Ms. Bahari?
Yes.
Ms. Carter?
Carter.
Oh, yes.
Now you remember me.
Yes, I know.
Ms. Hadnot, yes. Ms. Hallway?
Yes.
Mr. McGilchrist?
Yes.
Ms. Vallejo Justine?
But no one asked if I wanted to
Do
continue.
you want to continue?
Yes, I accept.
Great.
Courtesy.
Okay, no one even asked.
Right, assistant secretary. Oh. All right, we need a nomination for assistant secretary.
Miss Bahari.
She doesn't accept.
What's the nomination? We need a second regardless.
Is there a second for Ms. Bahari?
I just got
She
here.
didn't accept.
No, well,
You have to
she's-
second it.
it's got to be seconded before there's an actual nomination, then she could decline.
It's hard now because we know you don't want it. All right, I'll second it.
Great.
So Ms. Hadnot seconds. Ms. Hadnot's very weird speaking third. Do you accept the position? No. Okay. So can I have another nomination for
I
assistant
nominate
secretary?
Keisha Carter.
I second the nomination.
Hold on.
The daunting look you guys have, it just means when I'm not here, you're officially in default to take minutes.
Do you accept the?
Yes.
Okay. Yay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, so Laurel
And then I
nominated for
second.
under Keisha.
I think that's why he didn't come. He knew what was happening.
I think he's on his way, actually.
Yeah, okay.
He'll be here in 10 minutes, Mr. Mitchell.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ready?
Votes.
Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Oh,
yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hallway?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Vallejo Justine? Yes, and Hadnot, yes.
Great. So you have an executive board for the 23-24 school year. Perfect. We will, we'll make sure the website gets updated with that and all the new meeting dates and everything else, tomorrow. Okay? All right, all good. So moving on, we'll get back into business. So we've got an enrollment update. So in September, we'll have 369 students enrolled, based on our approved expansion with the state. Currently, we have 12 vacancies to fill, and that is predominantly from people moving out of the district that were still available at the end of the school year that we couldn't fill due to the timing of it all. So we have 9 who are moving, 3 that are moving to private schools. We've got 1 kindergarten student that we need to fill, 1 first grader, 2 second graders, 1 fourth grader, 1 fifth grade spot, 2 sixth grade spots, 2 seventh grade spots, and 2 eighth grade spots. So that's going to be offered via lotteries using the wait list tomorrow. So we expect to have all these spots filled probably even by our next board meeting, which will take place at the end of the month. Any questions about enrollment? Cool. All right. Next thing that I have here is just a facility update. Last month, I gave an extensive list of all the projects that were going on this summer. Everything is pretty much underway. The only update that I do have has to do with the library renovation, the resource room renovation, where we were going to be building an office for special services. That is sort of in flux, where we're still going ahead with the actual project. But we don't have final plans yet from the architect, and there's been some back and forth with the contractor. And Tom and I had a call with them the other day, and they said that right now they can't totally guarantee that they'll be able to get it done this summer. In the meantime, Sonia and I have worked with Christina to talk about potential other spaces in the building that we could use for office space. So this isn't necessarily the same as building a new classroom or anything like that. So it's not going to have an impact on our programs, which is good. And from a budgetary standpoint, it actually may be better for us to spread this out over 2 years, where we would do the first installment of this project towards the end of the school year, and then anything that needs to be finished next summer. But again, that's only if the contractor confirms that they can't do it during this summer, which they seem to imply. But I would rather not have the resource room out of commission for a month and have to work around that just for an office that we don't necessarily vitally need for operations. So that's the big update when it comes to facility, but it's still in the works. We have the plans; those have been paid for by friends, so we are committed to going ahead with the project. It's just a matter of when we actually follow through with that. But otherwise, everything else is going as planned.
When you reference installment, what does that mean? Like the first installment?
So let's say if they do preliminary work in June, between the last day of school and the end of June, we could use this year's budget to pay for like the first part of it, and then we could budget for any kind of balance if it was more than we had anticipated, which it actually was. We could budget for that for next school year if we need to, so we don't have to dip into existing money that's already budgeted for programs and academic things.
So first installment's like a wall, or
yeah, exactly. Depending on how we get billed and how it goes. But again, a lot of this is open to the timeline that they can give us. But I just wanted to give a general update on what we were looking at. Okay, great. So I'm going to pass it over to Sonia now, who's got a little bit of a personnel update.
Hi, everyone. So we have a resolution tonight to hire a 7H social studies teacher. Her name is Rose Angela Mendoza. She comes with over 10 years of teaching experience in the charter school as well. She's really excited to get started. She actually stopped by today. So we're excited to have her start. And we are looking for a school nurse for the fall. So if you posted it on Indeed, School Jobs, and a couple other websites, if you know of anyone looking for a school nurse position, please send them our way. And Christina, can you talk about a few personnel updates in your department?
Sure. So we are making a couple changes to what we originally had kind of proposed and budgeted. Keep our school psychologist on contract, who we have had for years. There's a resolution to reappoint her tonight. And the reason that we decided to do that is because we used to have had a contract with Care Plus for a 2-day service provider from Care Plus to provide more mental health. Wanted just a part-time position, but she wanted 3 days, so she went with her other school. I got an email last week or 2 weeks ago at this point saying the school's going full-time. She's still looking for 3 days a week, so would we want her back? We'd absolutely want her back. Really support some of our mental health goals for our students. So looking at our budget, we had to kind of make decisions on where we wanted the money placed, and we felt that the mental health of our students was kind of the priority. And there's a resolution I'm happy to have Rosine back for 3 days next year. She was actually very sorely missed this year. And then a contract for Audrey to come back on contract as our psychologist. We are expanding Audrey's role a little bit. Originally, she would attend initial child study meetings. She would conduct our evaluations. But I did have a conversation with her that I did want her here a little bit more, maybe doing some more classroom observations, meeting with the teachers, if need be, providing some suggestions from kind of an executive functioning, processing things that she would get from her evaluations. So, we want to her a little bit.
but she's not necessarily on staff. Phyllis is officially retired, although we still checked, so she's not ready to be just yet. So we are looking for a part-time LGBTQ looking for work. We need one. Learning consultant. And that's it. We are also still looking for a part-time reading specialist.
Part-time what?
Reading specialist.
Did we go through, like, did we ever try to contact through the region? Like,
So actually today, I reached out both to Northern Region, not Region 5, but Northern Region and Delta T to see if they had candidates that they could maybe send our way to. I did kind of let them know we didn't necessarily want to contract those positions. We would want a candidate that we could hire on staff if there was.
We partnered with the colleges too.
We can, but we have to hire our own too. So we can partner to provide like additional support.
But like to get on like their career websites and stuff, because that's pretty good. To get on all the local college websites and we just recruit straight from them. Okay, that's a good idea.
We've looked into that as well for even our nursing needs and whatnot.
We
so.
might shoot an email to admissions, like when we had needed a Spanish teacher, Spanish department, and say we're looking for a new, a Spanish teacher you may have, please send them our way if you have any candidates that meet like our needs. And so we have reached out, I think we could let them.
how comparable is the rate that we're offering in comparison to like your research with regions and things like that?
We actually are pretty decently high in districts, comparable to other public school districts in the area.
Everything's adjusting.
Everything's adjusting.
Might be outside.
So in the case that you do follow one of these other leads, right, like a region or a career, she's just on a per diem contracted basis, so we could still have her, but you could also reach out to these other places as well? Okay. Great. Thank you.
Okay, and then next, actually, I'd asked Christina and Sonia to also just talk a little bit about the academic programs we've got going on that started last week.
So I'll start with the SAI. We have our summer academic intervention program that has started. It's only kind of been like a week now, but everything seems to be going well. Students rotate to the different subject areas. They have their interventions. Sometimes if their time allows, even the teachers allow for to help with support with some summer work. They're here from 8:30 to 12:30. And it's been a week. I know we have 21 students who were recommended. 3 of the students have not attended. But again, it's been a week, so the parents saying that they're on vacation. So we did have one student who started today, the program. So it is tricky, but we're hoping that they would all attend because we did our, when we sent out the recommendations, these were the 21 that responded saying that they were attending. So, and then ESY also started.
ESY has been underway for about a week and a half. Very similar. There's 4 different classrooms, 3 teachers, and then 1 more like an independent work, which is supervised by a paraprofessional. And teachers are working on specific goals and objectives with those children. And then if times allows, also helping them with some of that summer work so that they're not kind of left to their own work to do that. It's been one of the smoother transitions that we've had. No bus issues yet. And all the students that we expected to come have been here. So overall, it's been, pretty good.
Great, and then one more for Christina. Just got there with the point here.
I sent 2 HIB reports. We had 2 at the very end of the school year. Both unfortunately were confirmed, and you guys got the reports this morning.
Looks like they both were like the last day of school.
It was within like 12 hours of each other. So,
Okay. All right, moving on.
Sorry, this gives different. Okay, so the board self-evaluation, we're just waiting for an updated link from the NJSBA for the 2022-2023 board eval. So as soon as that comes, everybody, our goal is to finish it by July 15th. It's important information that Ralph needs for his director's report in August. So you guys will get that soon, so keep an eye out for that. And I also shared the lead person evaluation. So if you can complete that also with the deadline of July 15th, that would be amazing. And I think that's it.
Yeah, so we had just the updated HIB policy was the same from last meeting, where there were no changes to the actual policy other than the addition of the link to the form that we have to use that's already posted on our website. So that was the only update that we had in regards to that. And once, actually, I have to add a resolution to approve that, and then I could send it to the state after the meeting. We'll do that tomorrow. Okay. Great. New business.
Committee updates. So I don't have my minutes in front of me. Curriculum met. We looked at the evaluation. The end of the year results that Adam shared today. We had a lot of conversation about just comprehensiveness, transitions, the new curricula, how to better support, the implementation of the curriculum that the students are utilizing. We looked at the INRS system. That was really good. The numbers are, I think, the best since I've been on the board. Ending the year, it was less than 10 students who needed those interventions. It was explained that, some teachers held on to their students just to make sure that when the students transitioned, they had those supports, which was kudos to the teachers and keeping them in mind. We looked at the tiered system of intervention and the information that was in the handbook about what types of interventions are provided to students before they get pushed to that INRS system. So it was like a 3-tier system before they get to the official INRS. We also discussed the feedback that was provided through the surveys. I don't know if Jeff reached actual verbiage of some of the comments. And we talked about what types of barriers impacted the implementation of GNT this year. We also discussed high flyers and the low flyers. So throughout all the areas, we talked about those higher performing students and how we could best support them. So GNT, INRS, ELA. We talked about a multisensory approach to instruction. There were some questions about Oregon Gillingham training, what types of ways they implement the reading instruction at a lower level. Some parent feedback was shared, the differences between having a older upper school kid and having a little one, and how, it does look like the phonetic awareness is building, but giving teachers some supports on like multisensory instruction. That was something that was also discussed, and I think that's it. Oh yeah, 3D printers. We talked about 3D printers. We talked also about initiatives that have taken place at Charter that are really amazing, and once we start, they're awesome, but then sometimes it fizzles. So making sure that those things are still available to teachers and they're aware of what's here, specifically that cool planetary garden thing that they have in the classrooms, and the Phoenix and the 3D printers. There was also discussion about the green room being available again for the students, and I think that's it. Finance, we didn't meet, and governance didn't meet, and communications didn't meet. So it was just curriculum. And then now we have to do committee.
Now you're gonna organize
Okay.
for the coming year.
So we have governance, buildings and grounds, communications, curriculum, finance. So there are 5 committees. At this time, we have to reorganize. So board members can become chairs of those committees. You're responsible for coordinating with administration, scheduling the meetings, taking the minutes and sharing it out with the board, and also presenting at board meetings what was discussed. Or you could just be a member of those committees and just sit and be present and provide your feedback and questions. So I guess we just go through each one, and then we'll see who wants to chair them,
We do it the same way.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
You don't have to take nominations. You can.
Okay, so
For volunteers, I think, or
Governance,
forget
Mr. McGilchrist,
was it governance?
do you want to be the chair?
chairperson. of
Okay.
governance.
Well, I sit on every committee, so Keisha, do you want to still be on government?
No pressure.
None whatsoever.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And Mr. Mitchell was.
Anybody
there
else?
too.
want to do
I
that?
can sit on it still.
So Kirk Mitchell. Anybody else want to be on governance? It's
It's
policies.
usually
Um,
3 plus the president.
oh, okay, that's it?
Yep.
All right, stop. Sorry. Okay, finance. Laurel will sit on. Do you want to do chair or just sit, Laurel?
No, this
Okay.
person is the
Enid.
chair.
Enid would chair, and Laurel will sit on.
We need one more.
Does anyone else want to be part of finance? The budget? No?
Who do we have for history?
Uh,
have-
Was it
that's
just those two?
it. Me, yeah.
That's-
Yeah.
So it's just Enid, Laurel, and you?
Mhm. Buildings and grounds,
That's facilities.
facilities, yeah, sorry.
Are we doing anything with buildings and
Yeah, we're
grounds?
gonna have a meeting this month.
Alright, yeah.
So if Kirk could chair buildings and grounds, that would be great. Anybody else want to sit in on buildings and grounds? Keisha Carter will be on that.
We could use one more.
I sit on that too. So you
It's
have
usually
another
3
one?
plus the president.
Would you like to sit on it?
No,
Anyone else?
I do 2. I sit my max. It's 2.
It's okay, yeah.
Okay. If you change your mind, you can always jump back on. Communications.
I'll stick to that.
All right, so Yvette will chair.
I'll do it. I'll do that.
Communications.
Ms. Bahari.
Ms. Bahari. And I think too with some of the fundraising aspects and stuff like that, you would be great. Oh, we also need a TCCS liaison, right?
Look, is
Or you
Laurel.
could be a liaison.
Then,
Wait,
well, there's a
for-
friends liaison and TCSC
So
liaison.
friends is,
Yes.
Yeah, he did the friends last year, yep.
He's gonna be.
but if he's looking at initiatives for fundraising, which one do you sit
I
on?
mean, it's TCSC, I mean,
I can TCCS.
Right.
Plus the
He just wants them to be able to participate with fundraising.
Or I could just shoot my idea.
that's more TCSC.
Right.
So,
My idea.
Yeah. Friends.
or you can tell the liaison. So you want to do friends or TCSC?
He's probably more suited for friends.
Friends.
They have to,
Are
we have
we
to
done
give them
with
this
comms?
information so he can sit in on these meetings.
Hold on.
Okay.
Are we done with comms?
Yeah, it's me, you. Anybody else want to be on communication?
Stacy's on
Stacy.
comms,
Yeah.
Who
and
else did it
myself
last year?
and you. But-
It was Heather.
Right.
I think that's good because there
And
was
Natalie,
two.
we still have Natalie to take.
Oh, we have Natalie.
Well,
But
Natalie-
Natalie was always on curriculum too, right? So
Yeah, she was.
And she's interested in doing that again. I reached out to her. Okay, so we're good at communications.
She could always jump on after, you know.
Okay, so what's your next one? Curriculum?
Correct.
Okay, so curriculum, I think it would be great, she's not here, but I think it would be great to keep Natalie on as the chair. I don't know how you guys feel about that. She's okay with it?
yeah,
That's good.
Okay, and then if,
I want Bahari
I
on.
would love, yeah, Stacy to be on that.
I'll
And
sit on
then
that too.
Anthony McGilchrist. And me.
Just send me the links.
TCS, TCS liaison.
Evidence that I was never sent me the links.
Yes.
Laura, can you do that again?
Add
I have
Keisha to
evidence that I
curriculum.
never.
That's, you got 5 with you.
Is that too
I got
much?
a text message from this lady saying there's a meeting.
Yeah.
I didn't get an email
we said
notification.
Kirk is friends liaison.
Yes.
Um, So the issue we're having right now is that Keisha wanted to sit on curriculum, but then we'd have quorum. But Anthony doesn't get the link, so that, no, I'm just kidding. Joke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Enid was on it
You
too.
are on that too? Oh, wait, she's not on it?
No,
So
so we have
Natalie?
Natalie, Stacy, and Anthony.
So you have one more.
And but the president
Oh,
sits on all
and
that.
then I
That's
sit on
because she
it.
sits in, that's
Oh,
4.
then.
Man, Eden, you didn't get the link either? I feel better already.
She's there.
I think we should keep
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
So I have, just as like feedback for us to think about is, I really liked the transition year to year, some of the same members, because it allows for like cohesiveness and you know the history a little bit. And now there's not a spot for Enid. So I don't know what we do with that
Where?
curriculum. It's Natalie, Stacy, Anthony.
You need Stacy. She's correct.
I know I want Stacy. Do you want to not do it? Or you want to be on? I need you.
She really was hinting. You could
All right.
anyway.
Doesn't matter.
So what happens
I
when
don't
this
get the links
happens?
anyway. I mean,
Can we vote?
Oh,
Is that,
can we
go
vote?
ahead then. If she wants to go.
All right, so do you want to do
Well,
individual?
Natalie's not even here,
Right.
technically.
Yeah,
So,
I reached out to her. She said she's She's ready to be on. But we don't necessarily have to have her in the role of chair or, I don't know. So do you want to go through each person that wants to be on the committee and vote if they should be on it? How you guys want to do it? It is awkward. All right, so Natalie, in regards to Natalie Lazou being the chair, Stacy.
How about we do the people here first?
But then we have to determine attorney.
Maybe we should hold on for that one.
Can
We do
revisit
this next
We can
meeting.
revisit.
Okay.
We have to do this next meeting.
That's a great answer.
You
And you don't have to make Natalie the chairperson, but you vote on who's on the committee
Okay.
right now. And then if she decides she doesn't want to, then you cancel it out later.
Okay. So the people are Natalie, Stacy, Anthony, Enid, and Keisha.
Right, well, so then you want each person to vote for 3 people.
So can we write it on a piece of paper?
Yeah, I think so.
Why
Please.
don't you wait until she's here?
yeah, because she needs to vote
That
too.
makes things complicated.
Yeah, she needs to have her
You
vote.
can wait till next meeting.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
true,
First of all,
everybody
And we
should
just
do that.
met, so we have time.
Yeah.
All right. Whoa. TCSCO liaison. Laurel, do you want to do that? Or anybody else want to do that?
I'll do it.
Laurel. And then Kirk is on for Friends.
Yes.
Everybody good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's all of them.
Right? I didn't miss anything, right? TCSCO, Friends, Communications, Governance, Buildings, and Finance. Yeah. Okay, that's exciting.
So next you have board training. I think Tom sent you some updates on missing training or whatnot. I don't know.
Yes, I just want to say this is exciting that this never happened, that everybody wants to be on committees. So like that's good news.
It's not necessary. They want to be on one committee. Because
Well,
we need 2 people on
it's
other
good.
committees that no one want to be on.
But it's good because it's curriculum. That's a really important, yes, very important committee. Okay, so in regards to the board training, the deadline was June 30th. I checked in 2 days ago. I'm not gonna call anybody out, but I did send a follow-up email. So just double check that you've completed your board training. as
Let's
of
go
June
by
30th.
that. Let's see who's continued their training.
Can I do it? Just let me know.
And open space.
I just want to know.
You can see me after and ask.
Oh, yes, Stacy is asking about her
I didn't
email.
get the link, right?
No, it's empty. What you got? For what?
I got the email about the meeting that to look out for a link, but I never got it.
You didn't get anything from Google with your email address? So you didn't get the agenda for tonight or anything? Oh, all right, yeah.
I just thought maybe I had to be sworn in first or something.
No, you should have gotten that. I'll resend it. It's fine. And we have to put in minutes too.
Oh, okay. Should I just finish with the
Yeah,
board?
of course.
Okay. So then we were looking at possibly July 31st for board training, the retreat. So we have to reach out to NJSBA, but we're just throwing that out as a possible date.
It's a Zoom.
I'll be here.
It's all virtual. So if
It's all
that,
virtual.
so if it doesn't work for you, just let us know.
I'm sorry, July 31st?
Yes.
That is, yeah, wait.
two
That
and a half
is, July
hour training.
31st is the next meeting.
Can we do it after? What time is the board meeting? 7?
No, I have to go to the-
You want to do it before?
I am not logging
I probably wouldn't be here. I would have to Zoom in.
All right,
What? I'm
just,
sorry?
so in regards to board training, we'll send you an email.
There's a
with
board
couple dates.
meeting on the 31st, and there's a board training that has to happen.
You could send, you could send out a poll or something like that to see what works best for the retreat, and then, because you have to coordinate that with Matt anyway.
I'll be away too.
Okay, so now I'm going back up.
Yeah.
All right, so the other thing we have to do is approve the minutes from May and June. Yes.
Yes, so the board meeting, we have a board meeting on the 31st, and then the board training is after that?
No, I think
No,
that's
no,
gonna
We're
be.
gonna
switch
probably
that
change the
date.
date, so we'll poll you and see what
It'll be
works
probably
best.
the evening that week.
Yeah.
Sometime that week.
Okay.
Because after the first week of August, everybody's
Yeah.
gone. No. We also have to approve the minutes from May and June. Those were sent out, so all in favor?
You got it.
Oh, motion? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes? Sorry, this meeting's all over the place. From May and June?
Motion.
Second? All right, so Anthony first and then Kirk was second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, approval of minutes for May and June. All right, now we're all the way back down here. So you have.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. We'll go ahead with that. All right, so I'll present the resolutions that we have set for tonight. We have a number, and I'm going to be adding as well the HIB update, as I mentioned before, too. So we've got two budget summaries, one that covers the remainder of the 22-23 school year, and then another one that covers all the expenses that we've already incurred from July 1st to today. We've got our insurance renewal. I sent the rates and everything out to everybody on that Tom had shared the other day. We've got a number of field trips that we're approving for summer camps for insurance purposes to ensure that that the school approves the transportation and whatnot. Then we've got three different compliance officers that are up for approval, which are renewals of these same positions. Our Title IX compliance officer, who would be Ms. Torres, she's in charge of ensuring that we don't prohibit student activities and things like that based on sex. 504 compliance officer, who would be Ms. Anders, would ensure that our programs don't discriminate based on disability and whatnot. And then the affirmative action officer would be myself, would ensure equal employment opportunity and ensuring that any claims of discrimination or harassment in the workplace are investigated. Next, we've got the behavioral health care services agreement that Christina mentioned before. That's with Care Plus. That would be the agreement for the coming year. We've got the school psychologist services, which are for Audrey Mezzi to return. So that outlines what her rates are and what capacity she would work with us in. We've got a personnel appointment for a substitute custodian. We've got a personnel appointment for the 7-8 social studies teacher, which Sonia commented on before. We've got the technology support contract for the coming year, which is a renewal with Complete Computer Solutions. And then we've got the HIB acknowledgement for the two HIBs that Christina shared earlier today. I'm also adding a resolution for the HIB policy to be updated as well, which I will quickly type that up and get that ready. Actually, I may have to run downstairs to get that. But those are the resolutions that I have set there. Delta T. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I have to refresh this page. I bet it's there if I refresh. Which outlines the rates for the temporary staffing should we need it, as Christina mentioned before. Is that one there? 14, right? You have 14? Yep. Perfect.
Okay. Any public general public comment? Okay. So, resolution 2307-01. I'm sorry. Be it resolved that the budget summary for June 13, 2023 to June 30th, 2023, total amount of $271,886.64 approved. Moved by Mitchell moves, second.
McGilchrist.
Any questions or comments from the board? Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes.
We have to update these with Ms. Bahari.
Then that's. Oh, this must be updated all of them.
Okay, Ms. Bahari.
Yeah, that's the only one that's
Okay.
the first one.
Ms. Hallway,
Hallway?
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo. Yes, resolution carries. 2307-02 budget summary. Be it resolved that the budget summary for July 1st, 2023 to July 5th, 2023, total amount $47,264.01 be approved. Moved by
McGilchrist?
McGilchrist, who moves, Hawley seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Yes.
Hallway,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo, Jesse.
Yes.
Adnet, yes, resolution carries. Be it resolved that resolution 2307-03 insurance renewal. Be it resolved that the attached insurance policy with Brown and Brown be renewed for the 2023-2024 school year. Moved by
McGilchrist?
McGilchrist moves, Hawley seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hallway,
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo Justine?
Yes.
Adnan, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-04, summer camp field trips. Be it resolved that the TCCS Board of Trustees approve the following: City, July 11th, Teaneck Cinemas, July 12th, Slime World, July 18th, Legoland Discovery Center, July 19th, NJ Jackals, July 25th or 27th as a rain date to New Milford Swim Club, August 4th, Bounce You. Move by, move second.
McGilchrist.
That's awesome.
Chris. I have questions. So are these for one specific camp?
That's sports and science, yeah, they take trips.
So how do we level this playing? Because one thing that I find very difficult is choosing which camp every year. And then you guys have great options, right? So we have more options. But then you see like the blow up slide outside for Water Day for arts and science. And then you have other kids like, we don't have that blow up slide and it's specific to that camp. Like, how do we level that?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that one specifically says that trips are included in the proposal.
Yeah.
I mean, that, and it's advertised as such. So I
That's why
mean,
it's the one that sells out
that's,
the
yeah,
fastest.
that, it specifically says it. Which is why there's an extensive wait list too. And fix that without referring to our camp board, which is why we have one. But I mean, it's something to keep in mind for next year.
Okay.
The problem is volunteer, just where the volunteers go. Oh, wow. That's still-
Can I hear you guys say?
That sounds like a
What?
movie.
I'm like, I want to hear you guys
That's
say.
what the volunteers- No, my son is,
Oh.
Thomas is volunteering to get his volunteer hours in, and I was just saying, does that mean he goes with
That's a
them?
good question. There may be a swim test.
Volunteer, he does.
Oh, that's the only question.
What was your question?
Swim club,
Mhm.
what are the, like, is there a lifeguard, is there, like, what are the ages, everybody can go in the pool, who's watching them?
Again, the specifics, those were shared I think, with the parents on the permission
Parents
slip.
sign it, so they-
That's, yeah, so there's permission slips that go along with all these different trips that the
Yeah.
that the camp organizers were sharing and whatnot. This is just to basically cover the transportation and the fact that these are approved because they are school sanctioned events. But as far as the kids are only allowed to go if their parents sign the permission slip. So yeah, those specifics should be referred to the actual camp operators and then the coordinator.
There are lifeguards on duty
Yeah.
to go in the deep end, even if you're going for like a day, you have to pass their like.
Swim test, that's what I was just saying, yeah, okay.
And for the students who don't,
I still-
aren't granted permission, they just come here for that day? Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Can we implement any of these field trips into the school? I don't remember us going on any of these, but it's like 17 examples.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have to also take into account academic and educational value of the school year trips. They're a little bit different. I mean, everything gets sent through an approval process for Sonia to sign off on the educational value. Which, and again, you're also talking about much larger groups of kids too, so it's cost prohibitive because the school is paying for this. For a lot of those trips during the year. These are all funded by enrollment that the parents are spending the money to send them to the camp. But yeah, I mean, certain things, if they're successful, I think it's worth looking into for academic purposes. But again, we actually encourage the teachers to start booking trips earlier this year because, as we said in our end of the year, goals and whatnot, we want to see even more trips, even though we had a great number this past year. But we want to see it spread out among the different grade levels, so it's not just one or two grades that go on the most. But yeah, so these can certainly be thrown into the mix in terms of options if it's warranted.
Did someone move that?
Educational.
Have you done move it?
Mitchell McGilchrist.
Some science reasoning with some other fun.
Yeah.
Slime World is
No,
like,
I was saying bowling's
But
not
it's a
necessarily educational.
Is it? It teaches you-
Just saying. No, you should see.
you can find education in anything.
Legoland is definitely.
Lego
popular.
campus, slime world, I could see.
So has the resolution passed?
No, any other questions, comments from the board? No? Okay. Bahari? Carter? Gonzalez?
Yes, ma'am.
Hallway?
Yeah.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo, Justin?
Yes.
Adna, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-05, appointment of a Title IX compliance officer. Be it resolved that the TCCS board approve the appointment of Sonia Torres as the Title IX compliance officer. Moved by
Carter.
Carter, moves. Second.
McGilchrist.
Mr. Gilchrist, seconds. Any questions or comments from the board?
What is exactly a compliance officer? Just refresh my memory.
So I have to do like investigations of the sexual harassment, make sure that we're.
Got it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
well, also, not a matter of
Sorry.
harassment, that's affirmative action.
Mhm.
But yeah, so basically, even when there's questions about equity, when it comes to programs that we offer, boys teams versus girls teams and things like that, that all comes down to Title IX.
Thank you.
Sure.
Harry, yes. Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hallway?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo, Justin?
Yes.
Adna, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-06, appointment of a 504 compliance officer. Be it resolved that the TCCS board approve the appointment of Christina Anders as the 504 compliance officer. Moved by
Carter.
Carter, moves. Second.
Vallejo, Justin.
Vallejo, Justin. Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez? Hallway?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo, Justin?
Yes.
Adna, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-07, appointment of affirmative action officer. Be it resolved that the TCCS board approve the appointment of Ralph Gallo as affirmative action officer. Moved by
McGilchrist.
Gilchrist, moves. Carter, seconds. Any questions or comments from the board?
And a quick summary, where there's affirmative action officer.
Yeah, so again, it's to ensure that there's equity in terms of employment opportunities, and more importantly, when there's claims harassment, or if there's claims of sexual harassment or actually, I came prepared. With my list of-
Do I have it?
TBI.
I have it with highlights too, because I figured there'd be questions.
I have it.
Yeah.
Alright.
It is, well, that's, yeah, no, of course.
Nope.
But actually,
Nope.
All right,
Okay.
You hand it out?
So I'll give you a quick summary. So the affirmative action officer is responsible for ensuring compliance with state and federal laws related to equal opportunity, employment opportunity, and affirmative action. While this role is typically associated with employment practices, including recruitment and hiring in the context of the school, their responsibilities may include developing and implementing policies and procedures that promote equal opportunity and prevent discrimination in schools' employment practices, monitoring recruitment and hiring processes to ensure that they're fair and unbiased, complaints of discrimination and taking appropriate action to address any violations, providing training and guidance to school personnel on equal employment opportunity laws and policies, collaborating with other school administrators to develop strategies for promoting diversity and inclusion in the school community, and maintaining records and submitting reports as required by applicable laws and regulations. That sums it up. I didn't have that all in my head.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
yes.
Hallway?
Yes.
Mizzou? I'm
Not
sorry, McGilchrist? Oh,
Yes.
Suddenly did that. Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo, Justin? Adna, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-08, Behavioral Healthcare Services Agreement. Be it resolved that the board approve the attached agreement with Care Plus to provide behavioral healthcare services for the 2023-2024 school year. Moved by Vallejo, Justin, moves. Second. Adna, seconds. Questions or comments from the board? Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hallway? It's okay.
Abstain.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo, Justin?
Yes.
Adna, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-09, School Psychology Services. Be it resolved that the TCCS board approve the following rates with Audrey Mezzi, school psychologist for the 2023-2024 school year, Evaluations with report, $415. Meeting with parent, $150. Moved by
McGilchrist.
Gilchrist moves, second.
Hallway,
Always seconds. Questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hallway,
yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
Adna, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-10, personnel appointment for substitute custodian. Be it resolved that the board approve the following appointment for the 2023-2024 school year. David Garrett, substitute custodian at $25 an hour. Moved by
Gonzalez.
Gonzalez moves, second.
Hallway,
Mitchell seconds. Questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hallway,
yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
Adna, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-11, personnel appointment of a teacher. Be it resolved that the board approve the following appointment for the 2023-2024 school year. Rosangela Mendoza, teacher, $74,605, BA step 12. Moved by
McGilchrist.
McGilchrist moves, second.
Hallway.
Not seconds, sorry, it jumps. Sorry, Hallway.
No, it's just.
Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hallway,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
Adna, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-12, technology support contract. Be it resolved that the board approve the attached contract renewal with Complete Computer Solutions of New Jersey to provide technology support for the 2023-2024 school year. Moved by
McGilchrist.
McGilchrist moves, second. Mitchell, did I hear that? Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yep.
Hallway,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
Adna, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-13, HIB report acknowledgement. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees acknowledges receipt of 2 reports from TCCS HIB specialist Christina Andrews on July 5th, 2023. Moved by
Carter.
Carter moves, second.
Hallway,
Always seconds. Questions or comments from the board? Do we have any ideas of how to decrease our number in HIBs?
What's interesting is we didn't have any until the last 6 weeks of school, and then we have 5. So I think some of it just comes from a lot of buildup throughout the year, so we need to maybe diffuse the things as the year goes on, so that at the end of May and June, we don't have this influx of everyone's tired of each other and being mean to each other. That was kind of a conversation Cody and I had about it, because it was, we had discipline throughout the year, but nothing to raise its level of HIB. And then it was 5 within 6 weeks. So we'll just, throughout the year try to diffuse things. I think getting care club back in here 3 days a week may be good for some of the mental health pieces around it. And then we expanded our social worker to full time for next year, so she can do more school-based counseling, social skills groups. Because what we found is many of the HIBs, without getting into too many specifics, it was just kids who were annoyed about something or angry about something, and then something inappropriate flew out of their mouth, or they did something completely inappropriate. So teaching the kids how to maybe handle those situations a little bit better. Coping skills, social skills,
Anger management.
anger management.
You mentioned Audrey being given more responsibilities and maybe going into the classrooms. Would that include helping the teachers cope with discipline and maybe strategies and if there's issues within students in the classroom?
Her role as a school psychologist would be more of the case, the special services, evaluation, how children learn, how their brains work. This would fall more under our school social worker and the care professional and our behaviorist.
Is there something in place for next year in terms of de-escalating situations within the classroom?
So all of our teachers right now are trained in CPI, crisis prevention intervention, which the core of that is verbal de-escalation. And they get retrained every 1 to 2 years, depending on that. And then we are working with A BSR behaviorist, kind of maybe work with the teachers a little bit, social worker, and then in our Care Plus contract, we have 2 professional development opportunities that we get throughout the year where she can work, or someone from Care Plus can come and kind of do some PD with our teachers as well. And we have 2 parent workshops involved in our contract here that we're gonna work on as well.
I didn't see an instance, but like the 5 that you're talking about, were you able to pinpoint, is it like during particular times of day? Is it on lunchroom? Is it like, on playground? Where is it taking place that makes any?
It's definitely happening more in unstructured situations. It's not, none that came to us happened like in the middle of the classroom, in the middle of instruction. It was like in the hallway, during recess, definitely more unstructured situations.
So like the people who monitor like the outside time or whatever recess, lunch, are they given that same training? All the stuff, yes.
Do you ever get any hits on field days? So maybe that's the reason why you need to go to Boulder City more often. No, I'm serious.
I agree
Because
with you,
it's
Kurt.
social, it's social
Spends up
gathering, right?
energy.
If you have
Team building.
4 kids, 5 kids that are.
I mean, to
on
that point, I
alley,
will say we just recently approved a field trip for our 7th and 8th graders to start the year with a team building trip, where they're going to be doing
Cross Valley-ish.
it's Frost Valley-ish, right? It's actually like an obstacle course kind of thing and like tree climbing,
Those are great.
stuff like that. So rather than, that was actually, proposed for the coming year. So we're going to start the year off for
Instead of
older
doing it at
kids.
the end of the year?
Well, that's 7th and 8th grade. They don't go to Frost Valley.
Oh, got it.
And it's not an overnight trip,
A
it's a
day
day
trip.
trip,
Yep.
yeah.
But definitely, I mean, to that point, definitely having the kids get themselves involved in more social interaction, problem solving, working with people who aren't necessarily your friends, and still being able to work together in situations.
I'm seeing it right down at Oak Park with kids that have problems in school and then their friends get together and now they're cool. Just because they have an opportunity to be outside of school,
Yeah.
hang out with one another. It's really
Yeah.
cliquish in here. So sometimes you need those activities outside.
To break out of the routine.
A lot of these kids have been together for years, you
And
know,
that's
so.
frustrating. It's
yeah.
just like a marriage. Right?
Yeah.
Well,
good and bad, but
probably
that's the pros and
something for a sibling,
I mean, that's, having
They go home and stay
work
there.
community is great.
Transition.
Any other questions from the board? Bahari?
You're on record, by the way.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Echoing Mr. VP. Any other questions, comments? Good, okay. Bahari?
Yeah.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hallway?
Yeah.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yeah.
Vallejo Justy? Had not, yes. Resolution carries. Resolution 2307-14, staffing agreement. Be it resolved that the TCCS board approve the attached agreement with Delta T to provide staffing services as necessary. Moved by
Hallway?
Holly moves, second. Leo Justy seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Bahari?
Yeah.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hallway?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Vallejo Justy? Had not, yes, resolution carries. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to propose 2307-15 for the policy update. Be it resolved that the board approve the following updated policies: 5131, harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Moved by
McGilchrist.
Chris moves. This is fancy. I don't even know how to write this. Second,
Carter.
Carter seconds. Any questions or comments from the board?
Second reading.
Yeah, second reading. Good. Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Hallway,
Yes.
Mitchell. I'm sorry, McGilchrist,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy.
Yes.
Had not, yes, resolution carries.
It's mandated by the states.
Okay.
Yes. Can't say that.
At this time, I'd like to also introduce another resolution for closed session. Resolution 2307-16. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees go into closed session on July 5th to discuss personnel-related issues.
Moved by McGilchrist.
Moved by McGilchrist, second.
Oh,
Carter? Did I hear
Bob
that?
Carter, yeah.
I heard you. Okay. Bahari?
Yes.
Carter?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hallway?
Yes.
McGilchrist?
Yes.
Mitchell?
Sustain, I don't know what to do.
Okay. Vallejo Justy?
Yes.
Hannah, yes. Resolution carries. We're going